We live. Happy Monday, everybody. What a gap up. Mm. Market was looking pretty, pretty shaky there for a minute. Welcome, guys. To a coin 270. Yeah. I feel like we'll have to talk about it for sure. Like this Biden dropping out. How does that go for the crypto trade? Crypto trade, by the way, is like that's kind of like my Trump trade, if you will. But yeah, it's gonna be a funky one. We'll see. 280 tomorrow. I mean, yeah, 300 Thursday. Yeah, it. I'll just put it this way. That would not shock me in this situation. Bitcoin coming up, almost to that. Like that crazy 69K level. That, by the way, 69K is like that's 2021 all-time highs. It's going to be a little choppy up here, so we'll see. Could be a fake out breakout first shot. Let her pull back, see if she gives you a little dip buy again, but not that deep. I think if you snipe that last low, you're probably around like 54s. You're probably, can you hear me? Gary Harris likes crypto. Yeah. Oh, does she? I don't know. I mean, if that's true, then that's even better. Even better. To me, look, the crypto trade has always been like a Q4 thing, but I know, and I knew the closer that Trump got to winning, um, this thing was going to start to pump. But seasonality wise, not that it matters that much, but summer is not the greatest for crypto, so we'll see. Look, I'm probably not personally buying anymore, but I got enough, so I won't miss that at all for sure. I don't know if Sharky's gonna come. Let me ping him again. It's Shark Week, I heard. Live. All right. I think it was gonna be in the trade. But yeah, actually decent price action day if you're out there. About this point in time, though, is going to determine whether or not where the market goes, to be honest. We have some gap rules. It's like gap up, pulled back. Actually, Qs and SPY both retraced about 50%. Sorry, I'm looking at another screen over here. About 50% of their gap. So as long as they hold that low from from like a couple minutes ago, probably okay. IWM looking a little squirrely in the morning. Big old bounce. Actually, yeah, big bounce. Who bought the dip on that? I actually bought the dip on that a little bit. We shall see. All right, so let's get to it, guys. This is where we're at. So really, I think it's we're kicking off earnings season. Technically, seasonally speaking, we're still in strong months, but what I want to say is that the seasonal trade gets really, really tough from here. And so like the easy money, I think, is pretty much gone away. If you looked at my Twitter or X profile for a while, right before we started dumping off, it was just this moment where like I remember this moment in the market, and it gets weird. Like it gets weird in terms of like it feels like sometimes the market's just using these really good companies as their personal ATMs, and it's just selling off. That's part of what happens. So it's just part of the cycle. Little give, little take. Depending on your entry price, it's going to depend. Yeah, it might feel really crappy. I'll tell you what, the Amazon one, that one is weird to me. Like I feel like Amazon's going to crush their earnings, and I'm just looking. Yeah, it was down again today. That one weakest, but completely filled its gap. So hopefully 182.50, this morning lows, is the low for Amazon. Actually, it looks like it, depending on where we close, it's still really early, but it looks like it actually really could try. Just trying to believe, man. Yeah, just trying to believe. Side note, how's the cannabis trade doing? CGC, still up there, man. It's still holding. That was another big one. Possible that could be a pretty good. Does anybody have a cannabis trade on for like a Democrat situation? That could be a really good one. It really could be, actually, now that I think about it. Keep that on the radar, I suppose. I like CGC in there. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. So, yeah, Frankie's in the house. Yeah, IWM. I like IWM. Actually, it's a proper retest. Honestly, I didn't think that we were going to get this kind of a retest on IWM, but I did buy this dip. We're going to go through. So, welcome, by the way, if you're new to the channel. What we do here every Monday is we kind of go through what was important last week and really what do we have on deck for this week. So, any type of catalyst, we will go through earnings. I haven't pulled them yet, but we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Earnings really start kicking off this week, so they get pretty hot and heavy this week. Next week is actually the biggest week for the season. So again, next week gonna be a really crazy one. A lot of money tends to move around during earnings season, so just be aware of like when you're, let's say, these groups of stocks. So we just got out of the banks. So the big banks have just kind of like finished reporting. If you saw some moves to the upside, those actually might fade as money moves over to the next industry that has to report. So happy as heck to be here. Happy to have you, man. No pot stocks for me, but dude, look at your handle. Oh man. Oh yeah. I feel you. You know, there's an ETF MSOS if you just want to do a bag on them, but they're way low, like very, very low. We'll see. A lot of news headlines coming out for those guys. But anyway, so let's get to this, right? So last week we had some basically Gary's here. Yeah, appreciate you guys coming in hot. Retail numbers, economic data was pretty light last week. It's actually pretty light again this week until we get to Thursday and Friday, and we'll go through that. But retail sales last month came in flat, again slightly up prior. Housing starts pretty much flat. Initial jobless claims coming at 243K versus consensus of 230 and a prior of 223. So slightly more jobless claims. And when we look at this stuff, really, it's like, what is Powell talking about? He's not really talking about interest rates that much anymore. He's been really focused on talking about this labor situation. So we're going to get PCE on Friday. That's really going to be the biggest one of the week for sure. Overall, basic stuff. Big banks beat earnings in large part. September rate cut. How do I not have CPI? That's probably the week prior. September rate cut got pretty much fully priced in. So I think that's why we started to see a little bit of this IWM pullback, or at least stabilizing. I think that I feel like that continues. That's just me personally, but you know, we'll see. A proper pullback again. It could go a little bit lower, but when we get to Friday and we get to this PCE on Friday, and we'll go through it, I think that's going to be kind of like the fireworks, right? Like, so similar to CPI last 2 weeks ago, PCE is the Fed's favorite gauge for this stuff. It's Chicago Goolsby, so it's notable comment from Goolsby, sees a risk of inflation, of a recession if officials wait too long to cut rates. So again, super dovish. Demand for gold overall, if you guys haven't seen, gold's actually been popping pretty good. From central banks has been rising. And then, of course, we had this massive Microsoft / CrowdStrike issue, which caused the largest IT outage in history. So if you didn't know how important Crowd was, or you were questioning it, you know, I think the market found out today really just how important CrowdStrike is from an endpoint security company. So that was a crazy one for sure. What's up, Ava? She's in the house. Appreciate you hopping in. Gary doing good. What's TFC? Oh, Truist Financial. That's another one. That's a big one. So Truist is a big one. Look at this market. Yep, reverse. So held that half gap. We shall see. In terms of what do we have on deck? So Monday, we really don't have a whole lot. Tomorrow, really low. So our data points actually start to get a little bit heavier into Wednesday. So Wednesday we get PMI flashes. Oil status report has kind of been a thing. Hasn't really. Look at this. Cam is in the house. The whole crew's here. Oil status report hasn't been that big of a thing, but it can start to be one. Market in the middle of lunch hour stuck. Yeah. So, the market just reclaimed, if you don't know Orb is the opening range, reclaimed the opening range low. So it stopped going down. That's good. The market stopped going down. We don't know if it's going to go up, but it stopped going down because it was a big gap up, immediately started to fade, held for a little bit, and then boom, fade a little bit more, and now it's bouncing again. So super chop. That's what this looks like now. It looks like super chop. So I don't know that they'll have a big move till the back half of the day. So I'll be around for that. Thursday is when the fireworks start to really hit. So Thursday we get GDP and we get jobless claims. Mostly GDP is the biggest one Thursday, and then Friday is the main event for the week. That's actually PCE. So when I look at this, quite frankly, the market, so there's not a lot of uncertainty ahead of this. I want to finish my IWM position this week ahead of PCE. And so like on whatever dips that I see, that's probably where I'll add. And then I'll be done and really start trimming from there. So I was listening to Tom Lee, by the way, this morning, and he was super bullish. So I'm with Tom Lee for sure. And he goes, someone was saying like, well, this IWM trade is like fading pretty hard. And he goes, no, well, not really. If you look back to last October, there was a big move to the upside and then a 5% pullback, which is actually exactly where we landed. And then it proceeded to run up like 30%, 25, 30% over the next 7 weeks after that first 5% pullback. So hopefully Tom Lee's right. I think the one that's going to do it is this Friday PCE. So we'll have to look at those numbers, see what that looks like. But yeah, actually I can pull this up. So this is going to be pretty important. So this is the earnings calendar or the economic calendar today. So Monday, really nothing. Home sales tomorrow. 2-year note. So when you think about the note auctions, bill auctions, 2-10-year spread, that's kind of important. People look at this. So the 2-year note auction is tomorrow. These times, by the way, are West Coast. So apologies there. And then Wednesday, really nothing Wednesday except PMI. Was it? Yeah. All this global PMI flashes. Some new home sales, which again, not really moving the market. And then we get into Thursday, which is the first real number, right? So GDP growth rate. This is a big deal. Quite frankly, I think this is our second look at GDP. So depending on where this comes in, if it's super hot, then the market might start pricing in those rate cuts again, or even more. Or I'm sorry, not if it's super cool. We'll see. It was negative 0.1 last time. Where are we? 1 point. Oh, that's on durable goods. So 1.4. 2% is actually like Goldilocks. So let's see what this looks like. Yeah, 1.4, 3.4 last time, 4.9. So coming in too hot. 1.4 kind of like reversing here. So interesting one for sure. We'll see how that comes in. And then we get continuing claims and jobless claims here. And then Friday is the big day. So when you're looking at these numbers, which it doesn't really matter what the prior is or what the forecast is like, and it doesn't even matter if like the consensus is really bullish or really bearish. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what the actual comes in against the consensus. So PCE price index month over month, 0.1% is consensus. That's to be pretty much flat. Retail sales we know is flat. If this comes in a major difference, like if this comes in super hot, I feel like if there's a big delta in PCE, we could either get rugged or IWM shoots to the moon, or like the whole market. It's either going to be a full melt up or the megas get rugged and IWM goes to the moon. One of those two. I don't really see a whole lot, but that's going to be the biggest greetings from Journey. What's up? MCP. this is going to be the biggest point of the week, right? So I think as we get closer, and we'll look into this, right? So as we get closer, Wednesday, so we're in Thursday. Let me go back to our main view. So Wednesday market kind of like starts to front run this stuff. It might even be as much as tomorrow. So that's why I was thinking for my IWM trade today, tomorrow dips. That's what I'm going to be like, okay, we're loaded. And then if it's the lowest I would ever add on IWM is 212. That's it. Like that's my max pain. My max pain. If IWM is below 212, oh, I just got this completely wrong, and it is what it is. But you know, I don't think so. I just don't think so. Happy lunch hour. Yeah, man. This is the time. So it's usually good just to kind of like break, right? By the way, when we have a big gap overnight and definitely a big gap over the weekend like we did, from an options trader perspective, IV is very inflated across the board. So we know volatility is high just in general on Monday mornings, especially now when you have a big gap like we did today. It's like double that. So be very cautious if you guys are out there trading, specifically short dated options. Be in and out if you can, because even if you get the direction right, I don't know that the value of those options are going to hold, just because we're basically reverting to the mean of last week right now. So a quick look on earnings really quick. So last quarter we had 7 of the Dow. So I tracked the Dow 30 components. Last quarter we had 7 of the Dow 30 components report. JP Morgan, all of them actually beat. So beat what their estimate was. Whether or not they beat the street estimate, that's different. So that's what I'm tracking here. We're coming off literally the best quarter ever. 28 versus 2 was actually the quarter Q3 right above this. And so that we ended up going 17, 11, and 2. So depending on where, some of these estimates are, we'll see, right? So it's pretty heavy earnings. I think when we get into this mega cap season, it's gonna be tough, right? I posted something about Google. It's real high up there. Has had like zero pullback really to me. But Amazon, conversely, and they both have the AI cloud spend, but definitely Amazon has had this massive pullback. I want to say thanks to Bezos, but dude, when he filed for this, he's gonna sell a bunch of shares, and he has not sold. I have to talk to Evan. I don't believe he's sold a single share under 200. And so that's what's going on with Amazon right now. And I think the market participants really just caught on to that. And they're like, oh, no, this guy is a brick wall right now. It's not going to happen. So all their efforts of trying to push it up ahead of earnings really just faded pretty heavily. So, coming into the earnings report for Amazon, the price action looks a lot better for an upside move, as opposed to Google, to me, where it's had no real correction. Barely, barely. Expectations are a little high, so we'll see. Best case scenario, they get a Netflix and it's pretty much flat for them, for a shareholder. But that's what I'm looking at, man. It's been a quickie. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hop in. I do have Miss Cleo here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick. Then we'll take a look at the charts. In the meantime, if you guys pop some tickers down below, OGE. Yeah. If you guys pop some tickers down below, then we will get to them once we take a look at the indices. But let's. All right, guys, welcome to your favorite section of the broadcast today. I wish Sharky's good with this, because I don't know how these tarot things work. I know they're like a thing, but I only recognize some of these cards. But the first thing, actually 2 things. So this is the theme card up on the top. You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it's kind of like comedic relief, but I'll tell you guys how often Mr. Cleo, whatever, gets this stuff right is just absolutely mind-blowing. So we keep it here because it's just absolutely insane. I actually crushed a lot of this last week and the week before too. So anyways, I'm just too quick. So we get what is this? The Seven of Swords is the theme card. Name of the High Priestess, a Page of Pentacles, the Magician, and I know these two swords or these two cards, Ace of Swords and the Sun. So this is funny. So I'm looking at the cards, and this is where I'm not familiar. I don't know how to read these cards, but the Magician is like maybe we bottom out on Wednesday. So that's what I was thinking. Monday, Tuesday, kind of done. And this is pretty bullish normally, and the Sun is for sure super bullish Friday. So let's take a look at what she says. So, all right. So the theme card, Seven of Swords, quite interesting after a week of selling. Was last week a bear trap? We'll see. This card says it's possible. We're expecting some kind of lies. Lies? Okay. Trickery and deception. Oh, I hate this kind of price action. What is this? Avocado, whatever. Whether or not it refers to last week, it's unclear because you really don't know nothing. It could just imply that we'll see some shady price action, price movements, and mean reversions. Right? So I don't like. There's choppy, and there's like another type of price action where it's like there's fake outs, but it's like what's up, Imp? It's just funky. What do you guys do? Ace, avocado. I'm getting. What do you call? You guys rock. Oh man, I can't. The chat's going too fast. I can't even get Evans. Evan, I need to know. Did Jeff sell any shares over or under 200 yet? That's what I need to know. Yeah, you guys rock. Okay, so she suggests to remain cautious. That's all I can say. Trust your gut rather than your eyes. Let's see what the daily cards say. Monday is the High Priestess. You guys rock. Gal can trend, but more often than not, she's here to set up a move the following day. So that's today. Today, I really don't ever pay attention to this price action. Monday lies to you quite a bit. Look, by the way, I took a long. I made a little bit and I instantly got stopped out, and now she's going right back, and I was probably right anyways. Oh well. Look inward and trust your intuition. So that's what it. Troppy. There's troppy price action and there's trappy price actions. It sounds like Miss Cleo is trying to tell us it's trappy price action. I don't know where avocado is, man. I have no idea. Is this this is in Spanglish. Avocados. Oh, there you go. You got one in there. What's up, Ian? You guys rock. So possibly trappy price action. I don't like trappy price action. It's crappy to trade, but you really have to kind of like lean into your spots and believe it is really what trappy price action is. Trust your gut. Don't expect a trend, but be ready to follow. And I would say wait to the close, guys. Like definitely wait. This is probably going to be transition from day traders market the last few days of the week, last week, into possibly swing trade again. We'll see. So that's Monday. Tuesday, this is tomorrow, so a little bit better. Monday, the High Priestess says, trust your intuition and be prepared for a move. Tuesday says we're beginning a new financial journey. Oh, okay. Coin always like, look, I'm not selling, Jeff. We're going. We don't get as much mean reversion as you expect. It often follows the following day's action. So if we close towards the highs, ooh, okay. Especially when it's major arcana, whatever that means. That's what we need Sharky for. You guys, more avocados. Okay. He's equally capable of up or down days, but you can expect a moderate move in the morning that slows down and possibly reverses in the afternoon. Trappy price action. One more interesting note, there's often a mean reversion day after the page is finished. So that's the Magician. This guy tends to stick with the trend, but usually with a trap. Okay. Thrown in the mix, he's more powerful than most of his peers, so the energy should be stronger. He's negative historically. So maybe I don't buy tomorrow. Maybe I buy Wednesday. That's what Miss Cleo's saying. We'll see. By the way, I really like Square. I don't have a position on right now. I want to do it. And I was looking for some longer dated stuff on Square. I think that's a good one. Big earnings beat last quarter too, by the way. And it's right in that right spot. And I feel like Cash App with this Bitcoin thing is like super underrated. I'm ranting. Sorry. Negative. Just it just may take a minute. Trap for the bulls. Bring positive days, usually a meek one. I expect only we'll see rallies sold here for most of the day. So I think this is getting into that we're like, okay, mega caps could bounce heavily Monday, Tuesday, possibly Wednesday. It's the small caps that I'm really all about right now. I got to tell you. So Thursday, Ace of Swords, trend starters and finishers, but they're much stronger than pages. This one happens to be one of the strongest in the deck. Yep. Expected. So big trend day Thursday when we get GDP. Higher chance of positive than negative. Don't fade it. She's just saying straight buy calls out of the gate. Okay. Sure. Trend starter. We often see mean reversion here. So if Wednesday is weak, it could set up for a decent rally on Thursday. Just ride the wave. No swing Wednesday night unless it's long, she's saying. Friday is the sun. This one's usually super green, like crazy green. We've had this card quite often as of late. You should know its meaning memorized by now. During periods of rallying, it gives us an ego check that knocks us out of the sky and back to the earth. During periods of weakness, it burns and the shadow burns away the shadows and darkness, giving us hope and a bottom to buy. This should be fairly obvious play, even if we're in the middle of the range. Use dominant energy for the last few days as the guide for direction. Actually, I would not use dominant energy at all. I would just like play whatever this trend day starts. She don't know what she's talking about. I'm telling you right now, it's PCE. That's going to be a big deal. All right. So her recap, Ms. Cleo, little bit of everything for the week. Monday sets up for a small move on Tuesday with the potential for very strong energy on Wednesday through Friday. Both trend and mean inversion, but themes. The theme is trappy price action, meaning like don't buy breakouts, stick with the pullbacks, and trust your gut. So stay on your toes. That's it for her. All right, guys, I'm done with Miss Cleo. Let's get on to actual stuff that matters here. Here we are. Nike, just do it. Yeah, actually, I'm long Nike. I haven't looked at it. So this is my look every morning, no matter what. It's always something just like this. So major 4 on top. So SPY, Qs, diamonds, IWM, the redheaded stepchild of the market. Yes, I watch her every day. Then always dollar, then always 10-year note, TNX here. And then over here, I'll flip-flop between like Bitcoin, gold, crude, maybe the VIX. Gold having a nice little pullback. Looks like dollar bouncing. The dollar goes up. Yeah, expect this to be a bounce, like a little bit more deeper on gold futures here. Not much, though. Then I think that's setting up for actually a really nice long. In terms of the market, this is where we are. So I'm going to take this green box off. I have no idea what that's from, but my orange boxes are an average week's range. We last week moved way beyond an average week's range. I'll tell you that for sure. So this is Monday right here. If the top, almost like a double the average week's range. So I'd have to resize this later. But for right now, it's not going to be that big of a difference. If we hold this gap here, to the upside, an average week's range and the 20-day, an average week's range actually brings us right about to 560 on SPY SPY. What I'll say is, as we look at this a little bit closer, I'm actually more. Let me take this line off. The look of SPY looks a lot better to me than the look of Qs, right? So 550 here, 551 is my NFP low, this level. And we know this typically sets the low for that month. This month, higher low for this month. This month, that actually we opened above, closed below, but today we're opening above. So as long as we're holding above 550, I think you could stay bullish on SPY. It's not the same exactly for the Qs, but I think that dip looks like it might end up being a pretty nice dip. I have a pattern up here on my screen. This is a broadening formation, like megaphone. And usually, the worry here is that we reject on this 555 level and just go back to kind of like chopping towards like the low end of this megaphone. That's not going to be fun. That's worst case scenario. But I'll tell you this much. This is not a confirmed breakout or confirmed bounce until we have like a daily open and close over 555. So 555, is like definitively, if we're trending over that, like for a couple days, then we're good. But in between this range, quite frankly, I usually expect just to chop until one of these levels like break. So I think we're near the upside for the day, or 555, give or take. But I think you could trade to that for the next couple days. If Miss Cleo's right, then she's thinking that we actually go all the way up, and we do have a little bit of a session gap up here, right here. So 564 is a session gap. That's valid, but we also have one below too. So right now we have two gaps that we're in between, smack in between right now. They're real. It's going to be a funky one, man. It's going to be a funky one. So I think for right now, this is probably your range. Quite frankly, if this is Wednesday, 556, then you fade it back down. Something like that. That makes perfect sense to me. But overall, we're now definitively in a big old chop zone on SPY. Not easy to trade. So Q's very, very similar. But I hate to say it, like not even close to reclaiming that NFP level, right? Not even kind of close. On the downside here, this is, again, here's our outside day. You just kind of take these and you really just like traded right there, right? So we hug this downtrend. It's possible that we go back up. This session gap isn't until 495 on the Qs. Again, a huge outside week last week, like huge outsized move last week for sure. And then we have a session gap down here from the weekend. So these are important. By the way, gaps are important to know, but you don't trade to them until you're like really close to it, and heading in that direction. So like, yes, there's a gap right here right now, but you know, if you use rules, like trade with rules, here's what I'll say. Like, you don't think that the gap is actually going to fill until you're below like 477 and a quarter, right? For now, like it's a gap and go. So gap and go means upside. This could actually be beginning of a pretty nice little bounce. So I think this can bounce definitively, and a solid bounce is going to bring us up to that 490 level one more time that we rejected pretty heavily here. I mean, it could actually get all the way back to where SPY's sitting at, and that'd be like that 495. That'd be a huge rebound for sure. It's not going to be a new high. It's just not going to be. But and if we get up here, that's where I would probably start looking to fade it a little bit up at that 495. And I would be a big watch at 490 to see if that actually does reject. But for now, you guys should know, hey, look, these levels, these NFP levels, they're like magnets. I think this was an FOMC kind of instance, something like that. But they're like magnets. So as long as it's heading to 490, it could get sucked up there pretty quick. And that's kind of what Miss Cleo is saying. Yeah, we're all long Nike, man. We can take a look at it. I haven't even looked at it yet today. Is it good? Does it look good? You guys want to take a look at Nike? I got a lot of people shouting coin, a lot of Nikes. We'll take a look at that. So Nike for sure. And I know Futfucker had a question about Microsoft, so Futfucker dumped that into. Whoa, Nike, nice bounce. Dump that Microsoft question down there if you get a chance. So Nike for us, I say us in the server. The long was actually right here, and that's fine. You actually got another retest. So this was my long, and look at that, it came right back to it. So you got an opportunity again. My logic here was like here. This was the low here. We'll call this a price of interest. And when we were looking at this, I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, okay. We know that there's actually heavy gaps below, but it was like this big push, like in that morning, and it popped over here. And we're over pre-market highs, and I'm like, look, right here, right now, this is literally the tightest risk reward that you're gonna get, probably ever on a stock like Nike. So that was the long. It was in the morning. Right there. I grabbed August. What do you guys have? You guys probably know. Yeah, August 75s at $1. So that's where I'm at right now. Let's see where she's playing. So it was a little sketchy. We didn't make a new high. It wasn't confirmed. So this is that new high. Let me pause this for a second. So this is your breakup structure. So for an upside trade to confirm on Nike, I had to have a new high over 74, and I hadn't had it yet. So that was a little, I know I'm possibly toying, playing with fire here. It's not quite confirmed. Still no confirmation. Did we get a confirmation today, you guys? Is that why you're all like, we're going, we get the retest, we're going. Okay, yeah. And there we are. So we got a new one. New high. This could go. You probably up to 75 here. I think definitively to 77. Look, the Olympic commercial started going today, right? I saw something. Olympics at the end of the month. So whether or not you think that that's good for Nike, I don't know. They're probably going to spend a little bit more on advertising. But what's true is that we now have a low. We have a little bit of one of those little patterns. What's true is we have this, but this consolidation level should take us to what? I'm going to double it. Should take us to that 77. Don't get over your skis. And then if you get a retest here, you want to see this holding 74. So if you like this trade and you're not in it, you're looking for a little bit of a pullback to 74.14. And that might be an entry. And if you're light and you see that happen, that might be an opportunity to get longer. But, overall, it's a big dump here. Let's take a look. So here are my targets, right? So I have this lower level here. This is a target here. And each one of these becomes like a target. I think at 90s, I'll probably be doing something else. I might be rolling. But 82.50 is like primary target for a near-term bounce. It's not anything crazy. You get into this. So this, there is a little bit of a volume, like what do you call fib retrace here from this earnings dump. Oh, that's actually higher. 90. Okay. So it could be 90, but 90, I think that trade is complete if you get to 90 and then you stop, close, see what happens from there. Quite frankly, I wouldn't really do a whole lot more. If you have runners, okay, runners to like 93s, but that would actually be a proper retracement because then at this point, anywhere in here and really anywhere in here, the bears, if there's Nike bears, they're going to come out in force and go after you. So just be really careful. It's not really like over 77. Then we're like, okay, this big bounce is going to happen. But 82.20 first stop, and then somewhere just under 90, undercut 90 before you get to 90. But yeah, this is gone if she's over 77 going up. Okay, so let me scroll up. So many avocados. I don't know what you guys kill me. Okay, so we should look at IWM. I think this is really important. So we didn't talk about IWM just a second ago, but I think we really should. So right now, the reason I said 211, I'm just going to pull this back to a daily real quick. So what happened? Where are we now? Right. So right here, we hit this kind of like major, like consolidation area, prior consolidation area. This comes straight across. 222 is a major deal of this, however many years, 2021, like a full year of sideways consolidation. This is that point of control right around 222. So we hit that, breached it just a little bit. I think we go through this, man. That's going to be my targets. I'm not short dated here whatsoever. Just so you know, I'm not even kind of short dated. So don't think like I'm trading this near term. I'm not even wasting my time with that. This pullback here, 211.74 is like the full blown retest. This is like your CPI day. So what I did was I actually took from the CPI day break here to get my levels. So CPI day close, sorry, we'll call it right there. And so where we are from this high, Whoop, right there. So this morning and yesterday's kind of like pullback puts us from the CPI break. So I'm not taking the actual day. If you take this actual day, it changes a little bit. But this is why this is my first like larger ad right in here around like the 215s. From the real breakout at the 50-day, that next loading zone ends up being around that 217, 211, 70 to 75 area. And that's a full-blown retest. For right now, this is pretty damn close to a 50% retracement of this major move, even not including like that actual CPI catalyst. So I'm happy here, but really really interested anything in this box right here. But I'm positioned with more ammo at the side, if that makes sense. So targets though, I guess 290s, honestly. So what we're 290 plus. So I'm looking at something similar to this, and let's see what Tom Lee was talking about. So he was talking about March. Where's October? Oh yeah. So he's talking about this move here that was a big old 15% banger, and then we had a pullback that retested essentially. That's about a 7.5%. That's about a 7.5% pullback to retest the actual break. Would have been pretty devastating. But I'm looking at replicating almost exactly this, right? But let's call it from here. If this is our break, we'll call it there. I'm looking at replicating this pretty much here. I was going to put you over 300. Ooh. Right around 3. I think 304 was like my level. But that's what I'm looking at having happen again. And let's get a real measurement here from an extension. So I got to use extensions here because the retracements are all over, right? So all these retracements, if you're thinking, is this a retracement time? No, not to me, just because we actually already are beyond all of those type of retracements. So this 6, oh, look at that. There's some confluence. The Bears golden pocket for a retracement, interesting, is 215. That's their max. Oh, that's really interesting. So we just bounced off a 6.5 retracement from all-time highs to 52-week lows. Okay. I really like that. That's even better. But anyways, I think in here is that loading zone for sure. And then we want to see it get back over. We want to see it make a new high on this next push. So that's what I'm looking at. And then from this measured move, that's actually going to put me an extension here right around 294. So it's all going to line up to be about the same. 295, 285 to 285. Ideally, major targets. And then stretch targets to 312. That's like what Tom Lee wants. But we'll see. Okay, so I'm moving in the middle of lunch. Scrolling through. So creators asking on Starbucks. So Starbucks had activist investors. So it's going to be a little bit different. Big green candle the other day. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit of it. Yep. Okay, so here's the 50-day. I forgot who the activist was. You got earnings coming at the end of the month. So I don't think you can look at this at all from a technical perspective, quite frankly. If you want to, I'll tell you this looks like a proper retest also of that last break of structure. So we say break of structure, it's like a series of highs and lows. So if this was the last high and these are the last lows, you have a higher low. Now you have a higher high. Where's a higher low going to show up? After a higher high, it's right here. And you're getting that. The only problem here is that you're at the 50-day simple moving average. And you have this big, massive kind of like earnings dump also. So this is very similar. We're like, okay, your max upside to me is like a Nike. It's like in the 82s. But anywhere up in here to the 80s, anything over 80 is like, okay, we've had a nice bounce. We're good for a rest at that point. King Ish wants Nvidia. Nvidia. I don't think it's Nvidia's time. We'll see. So 123 was like that hidden kind of like order block that we're looking at. Oh my. Look at this. It can't get over 123. 1, 2, 3. It's a big deal if you didn't know. This is a 30-minute chart. Where does 1, 2, 3 come from? So it comes from here, here, here. Opposite is good. Where's my up arrow? Here. But you can just see, like, it's everywhere. Right, big flush, big bounce. 123, man. If you didn't know, it's a very weird level on Nvidia. But it's major. It's a major pivot. And so here we are, pushing down. Look, I don't think it's a long, my friend. I actually would prefer to be short. I think the Mag 7 still has a lot of work to do. So I think we're still in that point where the market's going to still kind of act like these things are their personal ATMs. As we get closer to earnings, like it's you got to be like, whoa, okay, so what's happening, right? So end of August, you have all these other companies. What I'll say here is like it's probably not going to go up until you have like Google and them starting to report. Are we rejecting 123 right now? No, but pretty dang close. It's 123. That's the level. That's the big deal level. If you didn't know, there it is. Now you should know. The companies, it's like, do you want to keep this risk on? You're up, I don't know how many thousands of percent. It's tough, right? So as long as you're holding a 50-day simple moving average, that's fine. Here's what I have. If you're still around Kingish, there's a little session gap on Nvidia around 110.25. If you see a big red move on Nvidia and you're stopping around 110, I think you can go for that. So like this session gap here, that's been filled. This is from whatever, Monday, the 3rd of June, never got filled. So I know that there's one up here. If this cracks, that's fine. It could get up here. I would actually prefer like a short up here after that fills and then go for this, and then go for that. It's probably a very unpopular opinion right there. But that would be totally typical, quite frankly. And that doesn't even have to play out this week. That could be way later. You never know. So this week it could be, if you're over 123, okay, so you go here, right? And then if you continue on, cool, you continue on up here. But I really wouldn't push it to new highs or think that it's going to break out right now. Definitively, this is just like a massive consolidation level, or area. I think there's no reason for it to break out until we start getting these mega cap earnings, namely like Amazon, Microsoft. Coin, though, look at that thing ripping. Some of these other ones, and this would be like that like perfect kind of liquidity grab to flush everybody out. Be like, oh, the sky's falling, it's horrible, blah, blah, blah. And then, whoop, gotcha. Trappy, says Miss Cleo. That would be trappy. So trappy, you look for these kind of like liquidity grabs. Thoughts on Shop? Ooh, Shop is a tough one. So we're still here after this big old beat and skeet. I think so. Here you're in this simple moving average. I think so. You're below the 50-day. You've been above it a little bit. So I think you wait for a higher low after this, right? So if this bounces, if you tomorrow or something like that get a higher low, wherever that happens to be, even if this isn't here, maybe this continues lower, and then you get maybe you get this big rejection and you get like that, and then you get a higher low like this. Wherever whenever that higher low ends up showing up, if it's down here around 60s, I think that's when you go for it. So I would look for a higher low to show up underneath the 50-day on shop. And that's probably going to be somewhere around where it's at. But it's in here, somewhere in here. The problem I have right now is that I don't have a higher low. This is a lower low and a lower high. So this bounce to me should not last, actually, because like you're just gonna retest these prior lows and it's probably gonna reject. And then if that rejection, so like let's say it goes up, but that rejection can't push it down to make a new low and it stops right about here, then I take it, but not here in this moment, if that makes sense. And then you'd be looking for this type of up in here area. But I mean, really, let's be really, so you gotta get through this 65 level first. Let me see, I'm getting through this. I don't have this ticker avocado. I don't know what that is. CMG. Oh, good call. Dude, fucker. Lot of bears out there for Chipotle. Do you know that? I mean, they're super bearish. I'm like, oh, okay. So CMG Chipotle is sitting on its 200-day, nearly sitting on its 200-day simple moving average. That's this red line right here. So you got the big cross, you got the big dump, you're retesting a massive volume shelf. This is gonna come down to earnings for sure. In the server, we'll have to take a look at it. I don't know that it goes up right now. This is giving me Lulu vibes, quite frankly, of just like nothing but a series of lower highs and lower lows. Ew, that looks gross. But this is a spot where it should bounce, but I'm not seeing any love for this. Like if I want to see it bounce, like I want to see it bounce. And I'm not seeing that just yet. It's just like a couple shots. But nah, I want to see that fake out. So the little session gap here, I think you're going to have to wait till post earnings. What was this? I don't know, man. I don't know if I feel the same way. I used to think like Chipotle, I'm going to wait for someone to get food poisoning, then I'm going to go crazy long. But then they've moved so much now. And it's like, I mean, was most of it done? I don't know. Right? I just don't know. So around this $50 level, I mean, you're 53 bucks. This feels like it wants that 50 psych level. 46 right here is that next volume shelf. Let's say that last breakout level around that 47s, just under 50. That would feel gross. But as long as it's over the 200, I think that's fine. It's going to be very similar, right? So you wait for a breach below, and then you get these flush, and then you wait for a higher low. So if this is low, higher low, at that point, that's where you're going to want to look for something like wherever that ends up showing up. I think it's your better bet. Yeah, it's the 200-day. It's not quite the 200-day, but if I was going to see this bounce like this intraday, I would have expected to see a whole lot more love for somebody like Chipotle. And the fact that I'm not seeing that right now doesn't look super bullish. So I think she needs to get to that 50, but it might not be till 52, 50. It might not, this is going to be an earnings thing, man. But watch it post earnings. If you see it at 47, I think that's a good spot to like start looking for that kind of setup. 200 sales and avocados. Yeah. Man. Do you even want to look at Amazon? I think you do. So what I was looking at Amazon right now, interesting, super interesting. It's early, right? So here's this last pivot. This is yesterday's high. We'll call it right there. Yesterday's high, Friday's high, pre-market new high. The low just before the last low is right here. So this is the last low, 179. The low right before that is 180, 145. That needs to hold. I mean, we're just kind of like, it is technically higher highs and higher lows, but good God. uh, it's like this was that last low. So this needs to hold for sure. So that's like 181. Yeah. So 181 definitely. If you're over today's high tomorrow, then look, we're bouncing and we're bouncing to probably like 188s. But this is very trappy too, for sure. It's very trappy. Trappy. This 188 comes from this prior all-time high. So that's going to be a little bit of a trouble spot, probably around the 50-day right there. But she'll probably get squeezy from there. 185. Is that a level I'm looking at? Yeah. A little bit of a breakdown level here. So this, I'm just going to do a horizontal real quick, and we're going to see if we can find a spot. So breakdown, pop. I'm looking at this, whatever this is. Yeah, 180, 186. Weird. Okay, so 186 it is. I got a lot of confluence. Do you guys know about this one? These weird numbers sometimes. You get like 186 here, 186 here, flush, and bounces. Yeah. So 186, what is that? 18. This is the day they gave it away. Whatever happened this day, 186.18. That's really like clearly, when you have a wall like that that's defending, something's afoot. Something's afoot. So if it gets to 186.18 and fails, it's just not ready, but it should get to 186.18. Because look at what is up with 186? This is one of those weird order. It's like 123 on Nvidia. It's not rent. It's not an even number, but it's the number. It's 186.18. There it is. Call it 186. Now you guys know hidden level on Amazon. Jimmy, yeah, I can't really look at Jimmy. She gone. Amazon Africa. I mean, it was $20. 200 week simple mean average. Yeah, you should go to 18. 18. See you there. But just careful. There's a lot of people that 18. Just under 1793. This is where she goes. Yes. Coin. Let's do coin. And then one more and then we'll call it. So Coinbase. Ooh, this is like not the cleanest chart. Give me a cleaner chart. Here you go. This is the chart. So Coinbase, look at this, guys. A full week open over the breakout level. So 255 was the level. 250, sorry, was the retest. That was the low pretty much today. 250, 299. This should be good. This is a crazy bullish chart. Weekly setup to squeeze, not squeezing yet. This is exactly how I like to see it. Like I've already seen like these two cross over the zero line, about to get a green flip over the signal line. I don't have volume coming in yet, but it's starting to peek its head. 250, man, 250. Look at how important this level is. I think this could be a serious trade. Like it could be a big. You think 300's out of reach? I don't know. So this is 250s here. It can get squirrely, right? 250 to boom, 294, back down to 250, up to 270, down to 250, defends, 278, fails to 223. So if 250 fails, we should see what? 223. And then she can get bouncy. And then here's the thing, right? Like every time 250, boom. And this is the button that we're looking for. Boom. Right. If you can get that, this is definitively like 300s in the cards. There's a little fair. This is 340s. So let me just show you what I have. So of this kind of pennant consolidation here, and I think I just took it on the daily. Yeah, so this daily high, this daily low of this consolidation, an extension is 340. 340. Earnings are at the first of the month. So you got 7 days to go $50. Can she do it? I think maybe. Doesn't break. We're not in a breakout until it's over 283. But Coinbase, just so you know, it can get real wild up here. That 250 level, over 250, shit gets weird. It gets weird. So we're looking at 265. We'll see. Might be trappy, but 250, if you see that pull back, good. If you see 250 fail, then we know it's what? 230, 223. Cool. You guys, Nike, we did. CELH. Oh, CELH is rough, man. I went over this with Amit, and I was like, if I like CELH at 50, I gotta love it at 35. I think that's where she goes right now. This is not a good look. I hope it's a liquidity grab. You never know. You never know. If you're long, this is not like this time to like jump ship. To me, it's just not. I think like that time is like done past over like $100. So you just kind of like strap in. You're in for the ride. It's not going up. I guess it depends, like, what's the opportunity cost here? If I'm long, I wouldn't be deep long. But the dip buys to me, are going to be anywhere from here down to 35. So I would take another shot at 41, just under 41 right here. And that's where we are, unfortunately. So this double top on Celsius, what do we do? So we should do notable. So double top on Celsius, you kind of want to do an extension. So 1x this distance, essentially. This pattern becomes full at 35. So this distance here doubled is 35. And I have a lot of other confluence at 35. But it might be a long road to get there. It might be choppy. It might not get all the way there. So anything down here, 235, I think I'm nibbles. Oh, man. Okay, so we did it. NVIDIA. I don't really want to do AMD. I'm not doing anything that has earnings. Looks like, and let's not do, we did NVIDIA, so we covered kind of like SMH. Palantir, come by. You got a lot of Palantir. It's 29.90, 29.29. Are we over 29.29? No. We do this with Amit. So tomorrow with Amit, we'll do it's 29.29, boys and girls. 29 spot 29. That's the double top of death on Palantir. For now, there's a lot of good stuff happening. I think you're coming up to that pre-earnings run, but it's not breakout mode till you get there. In the meantime, any of these dips, look, they're defending like it's crazy. This is insane. Palantir is like, buy the dip at open. 2750 is holding. 2750. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as that's holding, you're gonna keep going up and knocking against that 29.29. And the more times that you knock, oh my god, it's not usually more than 3 knocks. This is gonna be a third knock coming in hot. I hope you go, because it looks like you might, and you're about to have an intraday reversal. Yeah, so the more times you knock at a level, the weaker it gets. Maybe it takes a couple, 1, 2, 3. what's the old saying? No such thing as a double top. You need to see it going through, but the next time it probably makes a solid run to it, and then it's 31.77. But this is, as an investor, like anything over really on 26.50, you should be damn happy. And if you lose that, then a dip buy is going to be around 24. Trading View or Webull for trading. Trading View for charting, for sure. Webull is a trading platform. Trading View is not. Microsoft. We can take a look. So Microsoft was closing yesterday, just basically below the 50-day. So this blue line was the 50-day simple moving average. I was kind of looking for like a gap down over the weekend, especially after that CrowdStrike shenanigans, and you're like right into this downtrend. So to me, it was a decent shot over the weekend for possible, news headline, whatever. Because a 50-day fail, this blue line, should have taken it through that 430, really honestly down to like 417s in short order. That didn't happen. We didn't get a headline. She's still alive. I'm long Microsoft equity, but this was a trade. So trades are different. Little gap up, created a small little session gap this morning at the 50-day over the weekend. Oh, that's where we are. This is not convincing, quite frankly. So this was the session gap. I don't know, Microsoft. You're looking kind of soft. So this area here was that prior support and is now going to be the new resistance, right? So if it gets through, so like I would rather take a short short, like if we fill this gap, see that, and then a lower high. Look, this gap is like closer to 450. It's 448.40. What's true right now is that we do have that session gap from today, or from the weekend rather. And the way that this works is like you have a session gap, you grab a little fib, and then you take it to the pre-market highs. And if it can't get below that half gap or a 6.5, like then we're not going to fill the gap, and it's going to be like a gap and go. So that's what happened this morning, and it's fine. Like this is that half gap area. It held what we call the half gap. So the gap to the pre-market high, halfway point is here. That's the half gap. It held, and this is yesterday's high right around here. So like if Microsoft is holding over here, I feel like that's fine to stay. Like I'm not going to take that trade again. The better risk reward to me is going to be once it like looks like, Miss Cleo said trappy. So I'd let it run. And then if it fills at 448.40, I feel like that's going to be a better deal. Because this looks like a gap and go kind of setup, specifically after that 50-day simple moving average move. So I think you could trade it long. And definitely if you get over that 443.75, then you should have a clean $5 for a trade. So I like that. Mercer, we covered Nike. You're gonna have to rewind. Coin. CCL. Ooh, Gail. What's up, Gail? I like the cruise lines. I think this is good. I like the cruise lines. I'm long Norwegian. Our boy Chris sent me this like super long cruise lines. I'm like, I saw some crazy, unusual activity on. So here's your breach, right? You got a 0.6 like perfect pullback right in here for a dip buy. I think that's done. Oops. Did I delete the wrong one? But now I think we can turn this into an extension. So if this is your consolidation zone, look, you're definitely over the halfway point. You've made so it's a series of higher highs and higher lows, right? That's for sure. Series of higher highs and higher lows. No question. SMAs super tight and expanding. This is where you can start to get some power moves as these things are expanding. Um, this consolidation brings you into the 20s, like 23s. It might be, this is like small dollar stock. You got to go way out there in time. We're talking like not January, we're talking like June maybe. But that puts me around that 23 level, right into this upper kind of like consolidation here. So I do like that. Yeah, even if I bring this over, that lines up. I think I would take some of these guys, like this specific wick. Let me take some of the lines off. So here, 23, 26. See how I did that, or how I found that? You might not. So this is what we'll call like the change of character. So over 23, 26, it's like, oh, okay, we are completely reversing this entire trend. Right now, it's like a big base. This is like multi-year. How long is this? Like 5-year base have gone nowhere. So options are cheap. You do have earnings coming. I think this is very much about the rate story also, but I think you grab this order block. We call these an order block. When I can find like a specific wick, I might even undercut that just slightly here. So where there's a little gap, yeah, and then you like support, resistance, support, yeah, resistance, boom, flip. That's about $23. So I think $23 is your long-term target, like in the next 6 months, maybe medium-term target. But I do like that, Gal. I do. Just Monday pumping. I think just Monday pumping. We're down the rest of the week. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, get a hood. I think that's it. Yeah, I got a couple for hood. King's asking for hood too. Yes. So hood, it's got the crypto kind of like extra. This is the last chart I had. So we're into this kind of like area here on Robinhood. So this is essentially, you won't be able to see it. I mean, right here, that breakdown. So support, resistance. So it's about 23.89. And that puts a trading range between 23.89 and 20.93 for hood. As we look forward, like this 28, it hit and that held 2090s held. I think we just kind of like dip around here. We're getting closer and closer to earnings. So maybe one more push, but I don't think it's going to be like a big breakout until we get to earnings. They're not going to release like preliminary numbers or anything like that this close to the earnings date. I thought we were going to get them somewhere over here. We didn't. But I think this is unfortunately like going to trade a little bit with crypto. 2363 is kind of like a big level for me. Let me see. And we're sitting on it. So let me take this green box down. 2363 comes from this retracement, like consolidation. That's literally 50%. So, or yeah, what 50% of this here. That's what that is. So halfway to the target. Target here's 25 initially. So if we get to 25 pre-earnings, I think you take the opportunity to maybe sell some upside calls on like 29s, 30s. But 25 is literally double. It's duplicating this prior consolidation, which I think is perfectly reasonable. My targets, upside targets would be ideally, you guys saw that chart, right? Like ideally for earnings, we crack through that 25 and actually get closer to 29s and then pull back and hold just over that 25. That would be ideal. But that's from an earnings price action perspective. For right now, this is actually a little bit of a pivot. You're kind of like, where they picking it up? Your larger volume shelves around 22s. mid to low 22s right in here that they're actually kind of like building. So it could pull back, but 22s, 22 and a quarter. I don't see that actually really breaking that much. It might for like a day or like half a day, but it's all this. You can see it building. They were buying it up. Was resistance, support, resistance, support. So this became that new 22, give or take level, key level for sure on Robinhood. All right, guys, I'm way over. If you want more, come hang out. You can hang out. Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be live with the MIT after on the market close. Always drop in the server. We'll do a bunch of trainings. We'll do a bunch of chart requests in there all the time. And then classes on Thursday. Cool. That is right. Ooh, somewhere over there. Look at. All right, we're back. It's right there. Appreciate you guys for hopping in, and I will see you on the next one. And I'll probably see if I can hop over to Jordy's space for a little bit. But for now, it's been real. See you later. Peace.